Hi, I'm Tish and welcome back to Electroheads. Now MG, under Chinese ownership, seem to have accidentally cornered the market for people looking for affordable electric cars. I've been delving into the brand new 2021 version of the MG ZS and putting it through its paces. It comes with a little bit of a facelift, a new user interface and a larger battery so it goes further. That all sounds great, but does it tick all the boxes? Well, that's what we're going to find out. So if that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you want to see more reviews from me and all the rest of the guys here at Electroheads, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. The other version of MG Electric comes in the form of an estate, the MG5, and that car's just altogether a little bit boring. But I don't think that can be said for the MG ZS EV. This car is far more interesting looking. It actually reminds me of the Hyundai Kona or e-Niro. It has that friendly kind of Pokemon face. For 2021, this car got a facelift, and that included this new textured blanked off front grille, far more electric looking than the previous car, and that's going to appeal to people that like their cars to look electric. However, I feel that people that want to blend in might miss the previous design of this car. But the details are there. It's got a really nice chrome bar that runs along the bottom with some gloss black detailing. Around to the side of the car, you've got that chrome bar that runs all the way along the side. You've also got the chrome roof bars, which give it a much more rugged SUV feel. Plus, the alloy wheels are pretty decent as well. Yes, okay, they're not the best on the market, but again, for a cheap SUV, they're pretty nice. A keen eye might think these are actually steel wheels, but it's very similar as with the Tesla. You've actually got a cover over the top to add to aerodynamics. If you pop that off, you've got a standard alloy underneath. There are two battery options now available, a 49 kilowatt-hour model which manages a respectable 198 miles, and a long-range car with a 68.3 kilowatt-hour battery, capable of 273 miles. There are three levels of specification, however, all come pretty well equipped. The entry-level SE gets cloth seats sadly, but it does get things like keyless start, MG's Pilot cruise control system, satellite navigation, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a reversing camera. Stepping up to the trophy adds all the nice bits you'd want. Smart leather style heated seats, wireless phone charging and a panoramic sunroof, just to name a few. The boot release for the MG is actually here, so you pop in the badge and you open the boot. Now I feel that they've missed a bit of a trick because actually the rear view camera is located all the way down here, meaning all the dirt on the road gets it really cloudy really quickly. They could have popped it in the badge like they have on the Volkswagen products, and that would have kept it nice and clean. But I guess that's just a point where they've definitely saved on money. Inside the boot is a really impressive amount of space. In here is actually 470 litres. That's more than on the petrol model, and it's actually far more than a lot of other cars at this price point. It's also got an adjustable boot floor, which goes down really far. Once that's flattened, you've got tons of space and it makes the boot really deep, but it does mean you've got a huge loading lip, so putting things in and out could be quite tricky. Inside of the MG ZS is actually seriously impressive. Despite this car not being set up to be a sporty car, it still feels kind of premium and sporty. You've got these really nice leather wrapped seats with the carbon detailing, which also matches the carbon detailing on the dashboard. You've also got this red stitching. It all feels very premium. You've even got an F-type style grab handle, which seems a little bit strange in an EV which isn't sporty, but all of those little touches are certainly nice and it makes this feel like a nice place to be. You've got a lot of equipment standard as well, considering the price point. But here's my gripe. Now it feels a little bit like when you buy something off of eBay. You buy it and you start boasting about your friends that you've got this brand new fancy camera which is just like their iPhone, and that is a little bit like the MG. Things like it has a rear view camera, but it's almost so bad that you can barely use it. And it pains me to say that because this is a really great car. I've got a great amount of equipment like automatic lights, automatic wipers, but it feels a little bit like they've scrimped just to put those details in. So it sounds great, but when you actually go to use them, it's not so good. And that's the same with the brand new infotainment system. This does look good, and actually it's got quite an easy layout. It's quite simple to use. However, I have some problems with it. The first being where it sits. It's down quite low. So if you are using the satellite navigation, you have to take your eyes quite far away from the road to be able to use it. Then is its actual functionality. It doesn't respond very well to prods. You have to press really hardly if you want it to do anything. And things like the radio don't always work. And actually, I found myself a lot of the time having to use the built-in Amazon Music. That's brilliant. I mean, well done MG for putting Amazon Music in this car. And I love that, but it feels like I'm only using those things and appreciating them because other things aren't working so well. It's a shame actually, because this is a great car, but I think that in certain situations it does lose out slightly. Connectivity on the ZS is really good. On this top spec model, you've got a wireless charging pad. However, I would have loved there to have been wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, because that means if you've forgotten your cable, you can still charge your phone and have your Apple CarPlay on. However, if you have got a cable, you've got the choice of USB or USB-C in both the front and the back of this car. And there's another fifth charger hidden right up here. Now this USB is fantastic if you wanted to connect a dash cam, because it means that you don't need to wire it in. Really thoughtful idea.
Thanks.
Rear interior space is actually pretty good. I've got a decent amount of leg space. The head space isn't the best because of this panoramic sunroof. I'm around 5'5", 5'6", and I wouldn't want to be too much taller. What is good though is the middle seat is actually reasonably comfortable, far more comfortable than in other electric cars. Yes, okay, you're not going to be able to sit three large people side by side, but I think a smaller person would be quite comfortable back here. It's super comfortable as well. The one thing I find a little bit odd is these washing labels on the seats. What are they all about?
What's the point?
In this top spec model, you get electric seats as standard, which is a really nice luxury, and it makes getting comfortable behind the wheel really easy. Another thing, it has an adjustable steering wheel, but only for height. Unfortunately, there's no reach adjustment, so that might be a little bit difficult for some drivers. So definitely sit in one and try that out before you buy. Storage is pretty good. I've got a couple of cup holders in the middle here. I've also got some storage in the armrest, and I've even got a decent sized door bin. I have actually recently driven the petrol version of the ZS, and that car had some real sluggish performance. It was okay on a standard road, but as soon as you tackled a hill, oh, it really struggled. But I'm pleased to say that the electric version is a breath of fresh air. The performance is far more punchy. That instant torque really makes this car feel much quicker. It's got a 0 to 62 time of 8.4 seconds, which is actually pretty respectable. However, performance aside, that's kind of where the fun runs out for the MG ZS. It's not particularly engaging to drive, it's not that precise around corners, and there is quite a lot of body roll. Something like a Peugeot E2008 is far more enjoyable to drive. But let's face it, that's not really what MG set out to do. This car gets you from A to B, and because of that fantastic range, it actually gets you to C as well, and it does all of that very comfortably. But this is never going to be a driver-focused car. It's certainly not going to set your pulse racing. One of the main reasons that handling probably isn't this car's strong point is actually the battery adds 1/4 of a tonne over the standard petrol model. There are 3 different driving modes to toggle through. You've got a normal mode, an economy mode, and also a sport mode. Choosing the eco mode will limit things like your air conditioning and your heating, and it'll also limit a lot of your power. Ideally, you're only going to want to use this in emergencies. In some various other brands, I felt that I've had to use economy mode to get anywhere near the predicted range. However, this car seems much happier sitting in normal mode, and most of the time this is where you want to be. If you really want to get all of that power out of this car, then pop it in sport, and it really does have quite a sharp acceleration. But be careful, using the sport mode too often will mean that you'll start to drain your battery much quicker. For those that aren't familiar with the kinetic energy reserve the regenerative braking, essentially every time you come off of the accelerator, the car will automatically brake for you, and that energy that's built up by that braking is then put back into the battery to help get you a few more miles. And you have the different states of regenerative braking depending on how you enjoy it to be done. I like a really strong regenerative braking, so I have it on level 3. But if this is something you don't enjoy, then you can turn it down. You get a whole heap of standard safety features and driver assistance technology, which again adds upon the previous generation car. These include emergency braking system with pedestrian and cyclist detection. The MG ZS EV Trophy and Trophy Connect models also get rear cross traffic alert and blind spot detection with lane change assist. So what about charging? Well, the MG can accept up to 79 kilowatts via a fast charger like here at GridServe, and that means you can get from 0 to 80% in around 42 minutes, which is the same for the smaller battery and the larger battery. 79 kilowatts is all right, but it is slightly behind some other brands which will do up to 150 kilowatts. Now, if you're charging from an at-home 7 kilowatt charger, you can expect a full charge on the smaller battery in around 7.5 hours, and for the larger battery, more like 10.5. The MG ZS EV is covered by an 80,000 mile, 7-year warranty, which is seriously impressive. What's even more impressive is if the battery falls below 70% in that time, MG will replace it. How good is that? This car for the small range car, well, not small, but the reasonable range car, starts at £27,500, with £2,000 more getting you the long range. Compare that to cars with 200 miles and it seems about right. Compare it to cars with 250 to 300 miles and this now looks really affordable. Yes, okay, it has its niggles. Those cables are a little bit too short. That infotainment system is a little bit laggy and doesn't always work. It does feel slightly cheap and Chinese in places, but for what you get, it's such good value for money, and the range is good and it sticks to that range, which is the most important thing for EV owners. I really love the MG ZS EV, but let us know, what do you think about it? Have you bought one? Please let us know. If you've enjoyed this, please go ahead and give it a massive thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me and all the team at Electroheads, then hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, bye.